Today we're not discussing about Tezos, however I've had a few comments about Tezos, so there will be a future video, and this is an interesting headline here. First mover Tezos led crypto market with twice of Bitcoin's gains in April. So Tezos coming up. But today, besides the fact that you should follow me if you have TikTok, I know it's silly, but I made a Kubera cryptocurrency TikTok. And Bitcoin being at $8,900, we're 10 days away from the Bitcoin halving. Today, we're finally discussing about the stimulus check, and there's going to be a few videos about this. So for Americans out there, why haven't I gotten my stimulus check? 6 reasons your payment might be a no-show for MarketWatch, and also to go a month or more without a paycheck is terrifying. This single mom applied for unemployment 5 weeks ago and has $100 left in her bank account. So let's begin with that, and let's roll the intro. Thanks so much for joining in today. I've called the unemployment center every day, 10 times a day for weeks, and I get the same message that they're too busy and to call back the next business day every single time. So in previous videos, I've mentioned that there's over 30 million Americans unemployed. Pretty soon, that number might be at 40 million. Alia Renee Capodici, 39, treasures the time she now gets to spend with her daughter, reading books before naps and bedtime and fighting off evil villains. Before she was furloughed from her job 5 weeks ago, where she worked as a screener for potential clients at a matchmaking service near Teaneck, New Jersey, she never would have been able to spend nearly as much time with her daughter Hadley. So there's a positive. There have been a lot of tears of utter frustration. I've gone 5 weeks without a paycheck. If I wasn't so worried about making sure my daughter was taken care of, I don't think I would be in this constant state of anxiety. Currently, I'm a full-time stay-at-home single mom. Usually my mom watches my daughter when I work. I haven't been a full-time mom since she was 4 months old, so it's an adjustment. I try to look at this as a beautiful gift because I wouldn't have ever had this time with her without all this happening. I live mostly paycheck to paycheck, and to go a month or more without a paycheck is terrifying, especially when there's no answers for what's taking my claims so long. All of my coworkers' claims have been approved, and they've started receiving their benefits, which feels extremely unfair and frustrating. I've called the unemployment center every day, 10 times a day for weeks, and I get the same message that they're too busy and to call back the next business day every single time. Even though she worked from her home based in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, she was working 7 days a week. When she wasn't on the clock, she said she was constantly worrying about booking more appointments with potential clients, which made it difficult to be present with her daughter. But then while she's reading a book to her daughter, it suddenly hit her that she has only $100 in her bank account. Trying to understand that and figure how long that will last is terrifying. Losing a job in the middle of a pandemic is hard. Losing one as a single mother with a 3-year-old daughter is harder. She would have gone on her first vacation in over a decade this week if it weren't for coronavirus. The $300 she spent to go to CrimeCon, an annual conference for fans of true crime TV shows with her close friends, has been thrown out the drain. And my opinion is that she should call the bank and try and get a chargeback, especially when she's in such a dire situation. There might be a way to get that back. Also, with the $179 airline credit, I mean, she did get an airline credit, but she should try to get a refund, and maybe she might get her $300 refund from CrimeCon or the airline. Who knows? Probably not. And if not, it's not the end of the world. There still is a bank chargeback, so try that. And if not that, try a bank chargeback for other smaller fees, whatever you can find. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but with most banks, you can try 1 to 2 times per year to try and remove any negative fees that you have, any fees for ATM usage, any fees for foreign transactions, any fees whatsoever. And with my particular bank, it was up to 8 fees. So the most I've ever gotten back in a year, I think their limit is $50 or $60, but that is still quite a bit. A lot of people don't actually know about that, so try that. Maybe a chargeback will work, maybe you got some fees. Every single dollar counts if she's got $100 and she's got a kid. That money would have meant more to her now than ever before. So MW spoke to her about how she's getting by. She said, I work 7 days a week from home, mostly evenings. My mom would watch my daughter from 4 to 9 p.m. I was responsible for arranging interviews and contacting people who were interested in becoming members of the dating company. It's my job to make sure they sound like a quality match, and if they do, I'll invite them to come in for an in-person meeting with a dating consultant. If they come in and they do decide to join, I make commission. So she made $12 an hour plus 5% of commission on the sales of the appointments, and she's been in this industry since December 2012. She was furloughed or laid off because she found out she was laid off from the direct boss, not the owner of the company. The owner had laid off the other employees a couple of days before my boss, but as we still had appointments as scheduled, we were allowed to work an extra 3 days. But then NJ started shutting down. I think the owner of our small business realized we shouldn't continue to stay open. My boss told me that it wouldn't be that bad, that I should file for unemployment and hopefully would be back to work within a few weeks. She's never been laid off before. She did receive a stimulus check, but she didn't get her unemployment. So she got a $1,700 check, $1,200 of which went completely to her health insurance premium of $1,068, and she was overdue for medical bills for March and April. Crazy healthcare costs in America. $500 went to diapers, wipes, and shoes, and yeah, she's out of money. However, she is grateful that she's been spared by the virus, and that is an extremely sad story. Unfortunately, she's not in a position to get into cryptocurrency, but it does show you that she doesn't have a lot of control with the banks, with the government, with everything that's going on, with unemployment. Why didn't she get it yet? Who knows? Hopefully she's able to get it finally. But if you haven't gotten your stimulus check, unlike she did, at least that happened, right? 6 reasons your payment might be a no-show. So nearly 90 million people got their stimulus payments, the IRS says. So they paid out $1,200 to most people. If you're unemployed, they also sent out an additional $600. And it really will depend how they decide to go further. There might be a plan where there's $2,000 plus $1,000 for every person, but it might be that like landlords and rent is free for some time being, or that you get tax rebates up to 80%. So they're still choosing what's going to be best for everybody. We're going to see how things go within this month and next month. The IRS has distributed 88.1 million stimulus checks as of April 17th and paid out $158 billion, but that is still not enough. There's been $290 billion set aside for direct payments out of the $2.2 trillion CARES Act. So there's still like half the money, more than half the money hasn't been paid out. So the IRS is slated to put approximately 5 million checks each week for up to the next 20 weeks. And if you didn't pay your taxes yet, you can still go back for the past 4 years, try and pay your taxes, and you will get put on a list from the IRS and you'll get your $1,200. So for some people who need to pay like $100 in taxes, yeah, it makes sense. So the IRS doesn't have your bank account information on file. Approximately 14 million Americans don't have bank accounts, and that's 6.5% of American households. So the FDIC is urging people to open bank accounts so that they can get their stimulus money quicker. Consumers with bank accounts might also be bypassing pricey fees from check cashing businesses, so some of which can cost up to $100. After opening a bank account, you can file that information with the IRS. People who have filed but did not give the IRS their banking information can submit direct deposit information through an IRS tool called Get My Payment. There are reasons for a non-answer according to the IRS. For example, it could be that the agency isn't done processing the person's 2019 return. It could also be that the person typically doesn't file a tax return and has submitted non-filer information via the IRS web portal, so it's still getting processed. The other one is you make too much money. So, authorized $1,200 payments from the CARES Act will be going to individuals making below $75,000 and $2,400 to married couples earning under $150,000 total. The program also pays parents $500 for each child 17 and under. The payments decline by $5 for every $100 above the $75,000, $150,000 threshold. Anyone making over $99,000 doesn't qualify, nor do couples making over $198,000. And there was actually a Reddit post, somebody on the cryptocurrency subreddit, saying that he got like $4 or $5. So that's interesting. Out of the $1,200, they were probably very close to not making it in the threshold. People who exceed the income limit might still have a chance at the money next year. That's because the stimulus payments were technically an advance credit for next year's tax season, so the credit is just not being paid right now. Someone else is claiming you as a dependent, so that was my scenario. I didn't get the $1,200, and that's perfectly okay. When it comes to stimulus checks, the IRS counts a dependent as age 17 and under, or if you're older and your parents are still claiming you because the parents are able to send you money sometimes. In one case, a 19-year-old college student told MarketWatch his dad claimed him as a dependent on his 2018 income tax return, but this student could still be eligible for a stimulus payment himself on his 2019 return. So that's pretty cool. There could be glitches, unfortunately. Some banks are glitching out. Debt collectors could be taking your money. That's pretty unfortunate as well. It's also important to know state laws, so check. Approximately 10 states plus Washington, D.C. and several other cities and counties are enacting orders preventing garnishing of stimulus checks. Your immigration status could be complicated matters as well, so that's a biggie. So for the most part, things are taking its sweet time and it's processing, but hopefully things get better in America. Let's keep a happy smile on our faces. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share it. Tomorrow, we're going to be discussing more about cryptocurrency. So see you guys later.